Did you have a place when you were younger that you went to dream, or even now? I mean, these places where you just feel like you can call out what's in front of you and you can see the future and you dream deep dreams. For me, it was a place, there was woods and fields, and I'd go with my dog, my unconditional love dog. One day I went to that field, and there was these huge dirt moving vehicles there, moving things around, and I began to watch and be curious, and lo and behold, they built a golf course in my field. And that literally became my field of dreams. Actually, and a couple years into that, a young golf professional came, and he became my champion. The reason that I'm here today, his name was Johnny. Johnny loved pouring into the young people. He poured into me and all the other young people that were there, and he taught me things using the game of golf that would set me up to do what I do today. The mindset of a champion. That's what I have the privilege of sharing today. And the formula that we're going to talk about today is this, that performance equals our potential minus interference. There's a few choices that we have to make. Number one, the first choice is to embrace the pressure. You know, you see people running from pressure all the time, but pressure is our greatest competitive ally. And the reason I say that is because if you want to hold a trophy, if you want to accomplish something big and great, you've got to go through the pressure. And so, in effect, in life, I should be looking for places where I put my foot and I feel uncomfortable, where I feel the heat, because where we want to go is a place of pressure. The second thing that we have to be able to do, if we want to rise to the occasion in the middle of interference, is to practice for the emergencies ahead of time. I remember the first time I went up with a pilot instructor. I was a kid. Again, when I was laying in the field, I thought, one day I want to fly. And when I was 18, I got to do that. I went up with the instructor. We're about 2,000 feet up in the air. Everything's great. It's like silky smooth. It's a cool October day, and we're floating around up there. And he goes, "You like this, don't you?" I go, "Wow, this is incredible. This is what I've been thinking about my whole life doing." We're at 2,000 feet, you know, and everything is great. And all of a sudden, he turns off the engine. He says, "Son, we got emergency here. What are you going to do with this plane? We need to get it down, get the nose down, get the wings level." I'd been up there and I had my hand on, the steering column for about 2 minutes at that point. And I said, "Well, you take over. You're the pilot." No, son, you take it over." "Where are you going?" I said, "What about the road?" He said, "You can't land on the cars and the power lines. You get to a field." I said, "What about that field?" He said, "You see those specks?" I said, "Well, barely." He got all the, "Get the nose down, get the wings level. We're going down like this." He said, "Those specks are cows. You can't land on a cow." Now, he's pretty calm. I'm not. I'm going, "Okay, I can't see that far." He says, "Get to another field." I said, "What about this one?" He said, "It's a cornfield. That's a really good one. You going to land with the rows or against the road?" Now, what kind of question is that? He said, "You got to go with the rows, otherwise you'll flip the plane." I go, "Okay, with the rows." We're going down there about 500 feet, and the stall warning's going off. Beep, beep, beep. That's not a good thing on your first flight. At 500 feet, he turns the engine on. We go back up. He takes over, and I'm just sitting there, ashy white. My hands are pretty much frozen on the steering column. And he said, "Son," I said, "Yes, sir." I was compliant at that moment. He said, "Listen, you need to understand something. By law, I cannot sign you off to fly this plane alone or with people in here until you're ready for an emergency." Outside of Johnny, that might have been one of the greatest lessons I ever got in my life. He said, "So if you want to continue, here's what we're going to do. We're going to practice every conceivable emergency, without actually starting a fire on the plane. For the next 40 hours, I'm going to see how you handle it. And if you're ready, if you're confident that you can handle the emergencies, then I'm going to let you fly." And that's when I learned I was paying for crashing lessons, not flying lessons. Number 3, paint a masterpiece. That's what Johnny taught. He said, "Cookie, you got to paint a masterpiece, son." And I was to find out later, if you don't paint a masterpiece before every performance setting in your life, you're going to deal with a lot of stick figure outcomes. Number 4 is trust. Trust your instincts. Trust the things you've trained for. Trust all of the gifting that you've gotten. Trust all the experiences. Trust what's inside. Trust yourself as a performer. You see, trust opens the door. Belief, trust in your skills opens the door 20 minutes before the trophy celebration. It's not time to doubt. It's not time to let things come in and take you out. And I guess the final thing I would say here, what an opportunity for you all to spend 4 or 5 days, I don't know how long it is, amazing, to come together, to share ideas and thoughts, and for you to grow. Maybe this is the place where you come to dream. I found it in a field when I was a kid. But now, it's places like this. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It was wonderful. Appreciate it. Thank you.